This is the mashup of 19th century transcendentalist poetry and gentle body horror that you never knew you needed. Welcome to the depths. Hello, welcome to Reading from the Depths. My name is Lecton. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Today I have another review for you. This is a review of You Will Speak for the Dead by R.A. Busby. It comes out the 10th of October, and I received a complimentary copy in exchange for an honest review. This is a tight little novella that I actually would describe as cozy, even though, as I said, it does have some gentle body horror in it. Our main character is named Paul. His mother recently died. His boyfriend has left him. His life is in shambles. It's a mess, which is ironic because his job is cleaning up messes. He is a house cleaner, and he goes and cleans up houses from people who are hoarders, basically. And he and the company he works with go to this house that was owned by a biologist, and what he finds there is kind of what sets the story in motion. And I'll be honest, the story is very sweet. It is somewhat predictable, but that's okay because it is exploring these ideas of grief and loss and what we do to hold on to our past, the way we resist change, the way we fear moving forward. And because of that, the story doesn't take any wild turns, and it forecasts very clearly where it's going. But it feels like it is carrying you along comfortably, and it is holding your hand as it brings you through this story, which has these fantastical, supernatural elements and the conflation of supernatural with earthly, and how those two things don't need to be separate. So part of the tension in the story is the tension between preservation and transformation. And do those two things have to be separate? Is there a way that the act of transformation can be an act of preserving the way things were? You know, does change and growth need to mean forgetting? Or can moving forward be a way of bringing the past with you? Whether that past is one of grief or of trauma or of loss or whatever it may be. And those are the themes that R.A. Busby is playing with in this really tight little story. The writing is really nice. It has a very kind of earthy and contemplative feeling to the writing. It's all written in first-person narration, which is intimate. It brings you into the story, and it makes you want to relate to the main character. I will say that other than the main character, none of the other characters have a whole lot of depth. They just kind of exist for him to work around. It's really his story. So the rest of them are incidental. And I would have liked a little more interaction with other characters. That would have been nice. It is quite a short novella, so there are certainly places it could have been developed to have a more in-depth exploration of his growth or his journey. Instead, it's kept really small. And that's okay. But because of that, you don't have as many interesting characters as I would like. And even him as a character, he's not remarkably deep. You know these things about his character, about him losing his mother and his boyfriend leaving him, and you can sense this sense of disarray. And so that feels genuine. He feels like a real character. He doesn't feel like he's just a convenient set of character traits. He does feel like a genuine, lived-in character, but he definitely could have more depth if we spent more time seeing him interact with other human beings instead of interacting with the mess that he finds in this house that he's cleaning. So I would have liked a little more character depth and development. Especially because the way the story is told in the beginning, you are directly receiving narration from the main character, and you know that he is telling you a story of what happened to him. So you know there is a journey he goes on, and you can kind of forecast what the end of it's going to be from the beginning. And so because of that, I would have liked to see some other aspects of the journey that maybe were a little bit more unexpected than what we got. With that said, though, it is a really wonderful, sweet journey. I think the character is one you're rooting for. I think the tension is legitimate and well developed. The writing is strong. It is, propulsive. I read the whole thing in one sitting. I think most of you will. It's less than 100 pages, and you don't want to put it down once you pick it up, which I think is really important for a novella this length. That feeling of momentum, it's always there. It never feels like it stalls out. There's no lull. When, you're writing in a longer format, then you have to have more peaks and valleys. But in a novella like this, you always want to be pulled forward. I think that she does a great job doing that in this story. Even though, I refer to this as a cozy story. There is a little bit of body horror. It's not extreme. There's one or two scenes. For the really faint of heart, might make you a little queasy, but it's not strong. It's not overwhelming, and it isn't gratuitous. It's actually part of our character's development. you know? And so that's why, even though there is, I call it gentle body horror or a cozy body horror, and the way it's relating to uh, self-sufficiency and the ideas of what it means to be in communion with the world around you, and especially the earth around you, is where you get these vibes of the transcendentalist authors. And she specifically quotes a number of transcendentalist poets at the beginning of every chapter. There's like a verse, usually from, Walt Whitman, Henry David Thoreau, these kind of artists and thinkers. So there's an intentional melding of this, natural 19th century experience of what it means to be part of nature, with the idea of isolation and disorder and chaos of contemporary life, especially that you feel in the moments of grief and loss and disruption. It's a gentle story. It is an exploration of what are the consequences of trying to resist change versus leaning into change, and how, as a person, your acts of continual transformation are really the way that you preserve your core identity and what it means to be living in community with yourself and with others. It was a fun story. I enjoyed reading it. If anything I said sounds interesting, I'm sure that you will too. I definitely recommend it and suggest you pick it up. Let me know down in the comments if any of you have had a chance to read this yet, or anything else R.A. Busby has written. I really appreciated the gentle vibes while still exploring intimate topics. I thought it was that combination was handled really well. So I look forward to seeing what any of you have to say about it. But for now, thanks for spending some time with me. Be kind to yourselves, take care of each other, and go slowly.